Hey everybody, we're back. It's time for another Saturday movie review, and today we went to see The Fantastic Four. And this movie is getting absolutely crushed by the critics.
Yeah, it's getting crapped on,
Yeah.
and so we went in expecting it to be absolutely terrible.
And all the negative buzz about this film is really hurting ticket sales because the theater was damn near empty when we went in.
There was like, I think 12 people in
Yeah,
our theater.
total 12 people.
Yeah,
And we still managed to get a damn cell phone in our freaking eyes.
Of course, yeah, like right in the eyes.
Yeah, like
using it as a flashlight to find her way around the theater.
And it was big too.
It was like the Note, like the Note 3. It was like almost a tablet.
Like she was like
Where am
walking
I
around
at?
with like an LED lantern. I was like, what is this?
But anyway, onto the movie. So
I don't think it deserves all the hate that it's getting.
yeah, like we went in expecting it to be awful, and it's not awful. It's not good, but it's not awful.
Yeah.
Like I've seen way worse movies, which isn't exactly a good critique of the movie, but it's not as bad as everybody in social media and the reviews and everything are making it seem like it is.
I think it's fashionable right now to shit on this movie, and it just doesn't deserve it. I do have a bunch of nitpicks though.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I didn't like about the movie, but I wasn't completely bored in the movie. It's not like I had any urge to take out my cell phone and be playing on it because I was like, oh my god, this movie sucks. But, you know.
For me, the biggest problem with this movie is casting. Now, and it's not Michael B. Jordan. I think this is Michael B. Jordan, the guy who played Johnny Storm. I have no problem with him. He was actually the highlight of the film. The rest of the cast really did not carry their weight.
I was okay with casting for Johnny Storm, and I was okay with Sue Storm.
See, I know Kate Mara from other things, and so I can't reconcile her performance in The Shooter to Susan Storm.
Oh yes, yeah, I don't know her from anything. So in this, I was like, well, Sue Storm was okay in the show. I wasn't really impressed with Reed. The acting felt weird. It was like a cool kid trying to play a nerd. That's kind of the vibe I got, was somebody who's been cool his whole life trying to act like he is a nerd, and it didn't feel like he was a nerd. It really didn't. And I was okay with I was neither here nor there with Ben. Like, they totally could have cast it better, but he definitely didn't ruin the movie or anything. He was fine.
Okay, now we're going to get into some spoilery territory because there is one thing in particular that really pissed me off. And it's the only thing that really pissed me off in the movie.
So if you haven't seen it and you don't want to be spoiled, turn off the video now.
Yeah. Come back after you've seen it.
Yes.
Okay, so after they've gone to Planet Zero, which I think is basically their version of the negative zone. I don't know why they decided not to use the negative zone, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. After they return and everybody has their powers, Reed is, he's strapped down as, he's Mr. Fantastic now, he's Rubber Man. His arms and legs are all stretched out, and he manages to escape, and he hears Ben's voice calling particularly for him, Reed, help me, come get me, help, I'm in trouble, blah, blah, blah. And so he's crawling through the vents, and he sees through the vent Ben, the Thing now, full-on rock-face Ben. And around that time, the alarms go off, and Reed bolts. And he's like, I'm sorry, I'll come back for you later. But he leaves Ben behind, and that is totally out of character for Reed Richards. The Reed Richards that I grew up with and that I know would never leave Ben Grimm behind, no matter what. So that really irritated me. And not only did he leave him behind, he never came back. They had to go find him.
Yeah. He left him behind for a year.
Yeah.
Now, he wasn't, not doing anything in that year. It seems like he basically was doing the same thing that they were doing at the compound. Like, he made himself a half-ass suit that didn't look anywhere near as cool. And he was trying to rebuild the
But in a shack in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, come on, dude. Stay where they at least have some funding and you can do it right. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, why would you leave before you totally scoped out the situation? He could have escaped at any time. He could just came back and be like, hey, I was just checking in with my buddy. No big deal. He didn't even stay to figure out what the situation was.
Yeah.
He wasn't even sure that they were the bad guys.
Yeah, and Franklin, it's Johnny Storm and Stu Storm's dad. He's like, well, he was scared, cut him some slack.
Yeah,
And I'm like, no, Mr. Fantastic does not run away. Through his actions, he is actually less likable than Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
I will say, I mean, again, I'm a comic book nerd. I prefer the comic book version of Doctor Doom. The science genius / magician who is dictator of Latveria. I prefer that to guy who was stranded on Planet Zero for a year and is now basically all powerful.
Yeah.
Which is another complaint
that
of ours.
leads into another complaint. The villain was obnoxiously overpowered. There is no way those four beat him. I mean, he was like bursting people's brains just looking at them, and yet suddenly he couldn't do that to them.
Yeah.
It wasn't very plausible.
They bring him back from Planet Zero, and he, is just kind of letting them think they've rescued him or whatever, until eventually he's like, nope, see ya, I'm getting out of here, and I'm going to take planet Earth down with me. And as he's walking through the installation, he is just like, boom, boom, he's bursting brains left and right. And when it comes time for the final confrontation, the climax of the film, suddenly he just stops doing that.
Yeah, he also
he wins that fight literally in a fraction of a second if they maintained his level of power.
Yeah.
But they made him so OP during his escape.
They almost had to write that in because he was too OP. But not only did he not do it to the four, he didn't even attempt it. Not like he attempted and it didn't work. He didn't even attempt to burst their brains.
For Sue it makes sense.
Yeah.
None of the other ones though.
Yeah, exactly. But he didn't even try it for Franklin. He fried him, but he left him alive to give some last words to his kids.
Yeah.
It was very weird.
Yeah.
It didn't make a lot of sense.
I understand why he didn't pop Sue Storm's brain because it's.
I think he was in love with her.
Yeah,
that's the vibe I got.
Totally implied heavily throughout the film.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the trend in Fantastic Four films. I don't remember Doctor Doom having a thing for Sue Storm that much in the comics. In Secret Wars, I think they're married, right? I think they're married in Secret Wars, or at the very least, she's working for him, and it seems like they have kind of a relationship there. But I don't know, throughout the history of Fantastic Four, I never really got that vibe, although I really kind of only read it off and on. But despite all our complaints, it was still basically an enjoyable movie.
Yeah, it was entertaining.
And worth the price of admission. It's just, there are things about it that is, if you're a comic book person, you're like, ah. And just the continuity inside the movie, the contained continuity that they established. Some things didn't quite line up, the brain popping Doctor Doom. And
the other thing is, it had a very slow plot.
Yeah, the build was slow.
It took them forever just to get their powers. And then it took them even more forever just to reach a climax in the movie with the villain and everything. The villain was only there for 15 minutes and then he was taken care of. Yeah. Really? All of that? And there's a villain for 15 minutes and that's it? It was a little too slow.
It was a very slow build to a very fast climax.
Yeah.
So that's just a stylistic thing that I just happen to not really care for.
Ditto.
But again, it wasn't the worst thing ever. It doesn't deserve all the hate that it's getting.
It was entertaining. I mean, it kept you entertained during the movie, even though you would be like, I don't really care what they're doing here. I've seen way, way, way worse movies. This year we've seen worse movies. Yeah. So.
All right, I think that's pretty much it for our Fantastic Four review. If you have seen it and you want to talk about it and you want to complain your heads off about it in the comments, go ahead and do that.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.